We never thought we'd say this, but we miss you, Maleficent. We haven't seen your wicked face or heard your maniacal laugh since the very first Descendants film. We know Mal had her reasons for turning you into a lizard, but why didn't she turn you back once she freed everyone from the Isle of the Lost? That just doesn't seem fair. If we were you, we'd be planning our revenge. It's just too bad that you're still a lizard. We really missed you in Descendants 3. And everyone in Auradon lived happily ever after. Except for Maleficent. What happened to the strongest Disney villain of all time? What rock is she hiding under? And is she still a lizard? Keep watching to find out.
No. Your mother did. She shrank to the size of the love in her heart.
Growing up with Maleficent as a mom was super tough, but it did turn Mal into the fighter she is today. Sure, Maleficent wanted to bring down the barrier and punish everyone who'd wronged her, but she did have her reasons. Maleficent put all her eggs into one basket when she sent Mal to Auradon with a special task. But she never expected her daughter to have a change of heart. Maleficent tried to take on Mal and her friends at the end of the first Descendants film, but Mal's magic was infused with love, whereas Maleficent stemmed from anger. So when their spells clashed, Maleficent was transformed into a puny lizard. Maleficent's miserable existence is living proof that sometimes you get exactly what you ask for.
And with that wand and my scepter, I will be able to bend both good and evil to my will.
All Maleficent wanted was for Mal to bring down the barrier using Fairy Godmother's wand, and that's exactly what happened. So next time you ask for something, be sure to be specific. Fairy Godmother willingly gave Mal her wand at the end of Descendants 3, and Mal took down the barrier for good. And while Mal got to welcome her dad to Auradon with open arms, the same can't be said about her mother. So why would Mal side with Hades instead of her dear old mom? Hades made it crystal clear that Maleficent isn't the easiest person to get along with. But when Hades accused Mal of hating her mother, she quickly fired back.
No. I don't hate my mother. She may be an evil lunatic, but at least she stuck around.
We know that Mal kept Maleficent as a pet throughout Descendants 2, but we haven't seen the little evil lizard since then. If turning Maleficent into a lizard and keeping her that way is a symbol of Mal's love, we'd hate to see what she does to someone she hates. In Descendants 2, Mal decides to move back to the Isle of the Lost where she belongs. We see her put Maleficent into a tiny little box and bring her back to the Isle. But since magic doesn't work on the Isle, shouldn't Maleficent have turned back into her usual self like Mal did in Descendants 3? Well, apparently not. Maleficent might be evil, but living the rest of her days as a lizard is something we wouldn't wish on our worst enemy. Mal should have turned her mother back and locked her back up on the Isle with the rest of the villains. But this never happened, so why didn't Mal turn her mom back into her usual self? Well, for one, Mal is probably terrified of what her mother will say once she finds her voice again. Who wouldn't be furious with their child for keeping them as a pet? Maleficent wouldn't hesitate to get revenge on Mal, and since Mal probably feels guilty, she might not be able to beat her mother once again. But the most obvious reason why Maleficent is still a lizard has everything to do with how evil she is. Taking down the barrier and freeing everyone from the Isle just wouldn't have been possible if Maleficent was still calling the shots. She's more interested in revenge than making amends. If Maleficent was still ruling the Isle, the people of Auradon would have never agreed to take down the barrier, because that would give Maleficent all of her powers back, and she just loves throwing evil spells around. Whether Mal would free her mother or not is sort of irrelevant. After all, we haven't seen the tiny lizard since Mal brought it to the Isle in D2. So what if Mal actually lost her mom on the Isle, making it impossible to undo the spell? Mal had to leave in a hurry once King Ben was kidnapped by Uma and her pirates. So it's possible that she left her belongings behind and couldn't retrieve her dear old mom. We just hope that Maleficent made it out of the box she was being held captive in. Without the proper food and nourishment, that little lizard wouldn't be able to survive. Maleficent might be evil and super powerful, but she does have a heart. Would Hades have married her if she didn't?
She's not the easiest person to get along with.
You think?
Maleficent is complicated and unpredictable, but she deserves some credit. And she definitely doesn't deserve to live the rest of her days as a lizard. Although Hades saved Audrey at the end of Descendants 3, therefore redeeming himself in the eyes of Mal, Maleficent could have done the exact same thing. If Maleficent had used her scepter to heal Audrey, she would have patched things up with Queen Leah, Sleeping Beauty, and Audrey all at once. There's nothing that says I'm sorry like saving the granddaughter or your enemy. Unfortunately, Maleficent never got the chance to redeem herself. She's nowhere to be found. Do you think Maleficent deserves to live the rest of her life as a lizard? Or do you think Mal should undo the spell? Tell us in the comments section. Thanks for watching! Subscribe to The Things and hit that notification bell so you never miss another video. And don't forget to give this one a big thumbs up. We'll catch you next time!